Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Bridge Show, episode 15, also known as the season finale. Now, just because it's the season finale doesn't mean that we're not going to bring you content every single week. In fact, the only thing that's going to change is that this particular type of show, where we have the live show that we speak in front of you live in our studio offices, um, it's going to take a break until Bridge starts back in September. But throughout the summer, we're going to be giving you guys a bunch of videos every single week for you guys to look at, to learn, and to grow. But today is episode 15, and it's our season finale, and we're going to definitely enjoy this one because today is a very special one. Today's going to be a little bit different because we don't have the usual panel together. We actually have an addition to the panel, our which is our producer himself. So once again, let's just show the panel real quick. Leslie, say what's up.
Hey guys,
We got
welcome to the Bridge
Christina,
Show. Hello.
and we got the one and only the producer William Hartz that's going to be joining us in the panel.
Hello there.
How does it feel to actually be part of the Four Squares?
Well, I was part of the Four Squares a couple weeks ago, if you remember. I was there. But it's actually a little awkward. I don't like being on camera. There's a reason why I take photos and I'm not in the photos. I like
Says the guy with the best camera on here.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I know how to
But
light
man,
myself.
yeah. But we thank you for just being here and joining us. And today we're going to be having a very special show. Like I said, is our season finale for our live show. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be giving you guys content. In fact, we're going to be giving you an episode every single week until season 2 starts back in September. All right. But before we go there, I want to talk about some bridge news. All right. And the bridge news that we have is that the summer is officially upon us. All right. Now the bridge is going to be meeting together. We're going to be making some plans. All the leadership in the entire bridge is going to try to make some plans so that we can get together during this summer. Obviously, we have some obstacles. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say we have obstacle courses. Yeah, obstacles.
We have some obstacles. That's
Ah,
what happened when you grow up in a Puerto Rican home that speaks Spanglish. We have some
octopus. We have some
obstacles
octopus.
and not octopus. We have some I can't say that. Can you say it for me?
Obstacles.
Obstacles.
There you go.
We have some obstacles with having a group of us together because of COVID-19, but we're going to be innovative. We're going to figure out different things that we can do so that we all could get together and really enjoy ourselves throughout the summer. So we're going to figure out something that we can do that is safe, that is going to have be fun, and most importantly, that is going to get us closer to knowing who God is in our lives. And so we're planning. So stay tuned. For those who do not follow us in our social medias, you got to do so. It's extremely important. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. Make sure that you are plugged in because when you're plugged in, you get to all the latest information.
Mhm.
Second thing is you might have received a phone call from one of us, just literally just wanting to say hello to you. We for the last week or two, we've been calling all of the youth and just letting you guys know that we miss you guys, that we love you, and that we're looking forward to connecting again, and that we're here for you. We ask you guys, during in our phone calls, if you need anything in the world, if you guys are in need of anything, your family, let us know. Our number one desire is to be able to help and support you in any ways possible. So make sure you contact us or even just call us back, just say hello, and that you got the phone call because we miss you. We miss you very much. And then our last announcements is that in September 18th, 19th, and 20th, literally the WrestleMania, the Super Bowl, the finals, the World Series of the Bridge is going to be happening, which is our BYMC. Our gigantic conference is going to be happening in September 18th, 19th, and 20th. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to make sure you're there. It's going to be an amazing job. We're all the bridge and the entire leadership team. We're working. We're working to make it one of the best retreats that you probably would ever experience. do your best to make it there, and we're gonna make sure that you guys have an amazing time. All right, and that's pretty much it. Billy, what do you have for us for Bridge at 20?
So, Bridge at 20, we are going back. I believe it is about 3 years. Um, almost exactly 3 years. So, this is July 7th, 2017. This was a small group event. So, we have small groups that meet when we're able to. And this was our guy small group. So, at the time, Alex Tirado and I were in charge of the small group. So we had a bunch of guys, and we decided one time to go hiking with our guys. So a bunch of us piled into a car. We drove out to the Delaware Water Gap, and we did probably about 8 miles or so, climbing up the Dunfield Creek Trail and went up to Sunfish Pond. And we spent some time up there. We hung out. It was a really cool experience. I love being in the woods, and so it was really cool to be out there. Bunch of our guys were there. They're all in college now. Actually, I think they're about to graduate college, or like next year. Maybe they just did this year. It's been a while. So this was 2017. Delaware Water Gap Bridge Guys Home Small Group went on a hiking trip. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's what's up, man. I love hiking. I think it's a very, very good time. It's a lot of fun. Man, by the end of that hiking, I'm so sweaty and sticky that all I want to do is take off my clothes and jump into a river. There's rivers that you can just jump into, Bill, over there. I know in Puerto Rico, whenever I go hiking in Puerto Rico, there's always a nice, beautiful river that I can jump into.
Yeah, that trail at the bottom, or at the bottom of the mountain, there's a waterfall and there's a creek, but you can go inside the creek and you can swim inside there.
The one by like the little waterfalls, right?
Yeah. You can't actually go in the lake or the pond that's at the top because the pond is highly acidic. You can't drink that water, and they don't want you swimming inside of it. There's actually only, I think, 2 fish that are there that can actually survive in that pond. One of them is a sunfish. That's why it's called Sunfish Pond. But at the bottom there's a creek that leads out into the Delaware River, and you can swim inside that all you want.
Sounds good, man. That's what's up, man. I would love to go there. Hopefully we get to do that as well. I think that'll be a good idea to have to do like an event where we could bring about like 10 of our youth over there, right, guys?
I think that'd be good. We took our kids in Midtown, remember, Bill?
Midtown?
Yeah, it was it wasn't the exact same trail, but yeah, part of it was we were overlapping. So yeah, we did that with our Midtown people, and I think the Bridge Downtown did that trail also right before we did it with
backwards.
Yeah, they went backwards.
But they did it backwards.
Yeah.
Charlie did that with like Hadassah on his back.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Charlie. Yeah.
That was no joke.
That's brave, because going down that trail that they came down is really steep and rocky.
Yeah, it is.
So.
All right. Anybody, any cool things that happened this week? What is your picks of the week for any of you guys? What have you guys been doing this week that is exciting, that is adventurous, or anything cool that happened this week? What have you guys been doing that is something very different that you would like to share with the group today?
I don't know about very different, but the beach is amazing. The weather has been like crazy nice. And I feel like last year I went to the beach like once, and this year I've been there a million times. So I'm going to say the beach.
What about you, Chris?
I went to the beach today, man.
Did you guys go to the beach together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys beach bums together?
Yeah.
And I made Leslie go in the water today.
Yo, I'm so bad at peer pressure, because like I was like, nah, man, it's too cold. So I was like, go ahead, because she's like crazy. She'll go into like the coldest water ever, and she's in there like, come on, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So then I just ran and jumped in, and then it was really good afterwards. It took a while for you to get used to it, but
I'll dive into the water 1, 2, 3. Like, I don't care how cold it is. I'll be like, listen, I'm making it into this water. I'm about to dive in. And then, and Leslie was like out in the, corner she's like, no, I don't want to do it. I was like, get in the water.
What about you, Bill?
I am not a beach person. I prefer the mountains. One thing I've been doing is I've been on eBay like nonstop, and because I've been buying a bunch of stuff off of eBay.
Oh my
my-
gosh,
Wow.
why?
I'm trying to build in my class. So I teach in an Apple Distinguished School. I'm trying to build a museum of old Apple tech in my classroom, which I think would be pretty cool. So
I
I've been
think I have
going.
an old.
I'll take whatever you want to donate to the cause.
Hey, yo, how much for this?
iPod Nano Generation 1 right there.
2
I-
gigs.
Yeah, I paid. This is a 1 GB one. I think I paid like $6 for this on eBay.
What?
Yeah, it's
Give me 7 and then we'll talk.
So I bought I bought a bunch of iPhones. I got an iPod Classic. I got some old iPod Nanos. This is Generation 1 iPod Nano. Downstairs I have I bought a computer, an iMac G4. Probably my favorite design computer that they've ever released, and I just bought another iPhone today. It sounds like I'm spending a lot of money. It's actually not, because all these cost like $10 or less. So I've been trying to.
Isn't that
acquire
so
them.
crazy?
Yeah.
Remember when they used to be like hundreds of dollars, and now it's like $6?
Yeah, the computer is the only thing that cost a bit, but it was my favorite computer we've ever owned, so I bought that. And so I've been spending my week on eBay. That's
Nice.
I have a Game Boy Color. You think it's still worth anything?
I do too, and I got Pokemon Yellow, the first one ever.
Oh,
Wow.
I think
Holla
I
at
have
your boy.
Pokemon Yellow too. That's funny. Or no, I might have Silver.
I have an old iMac. You need that, Billy?
I will take whatever you want to donate.
Take? Make me an offer.
I'll give you $10 for it.
No. I'll use that screen
no,
for
no,
anything.
No.
Well, guys, for me personally, I just just enjoying my new son, getting things ready for the summer, doing the best that we can to survive, working very, very hard, but just pretty much enjoying it. My mom, for Father's Day, she actually bought me a hammock. All right, so I finally built it yesterday, and I've been laying on it, and it's been very, very good, very relaxing. But just to continue, guys. So as we continue with our series of this week, we've been talking about we're talking about leadership. What is it? What does it mean to be a leader? One thing that we wanted to emphasize last week, and we hope we're emphasizing it again this week, is that literally, if you're watching the show and you think that you have no chance of being a leader at the Bridge, or have a chance of being a leader in anything that you guys do, whether it's a leader in your school, whether it's a leader in your friends, a leader in your own family. Let me tell you something. God created every single one of us to lead. Okay.
Mhm.
Every single one of us has the gift of leading. All you need to do is just be willing to be a servant and be willing to lead others. That's it. That's it. And every single one of us are meant to be leaders. And we want to make sure that we end this season finale speaking upon that. Another thing that we want to say today that is extremely, extremely exciting, a little sad, bittersweet, all right? But today we are going to be announcing the official retirement of the oldest Bridge member, the oldest Bridge leader in all the entire history of the Bridge. Today will be the last day that William Hartz will be joining us and being pretty much as a leader at the Bridge Youth Ministries. Billy, me saying that right now, how does that make you feel?
It's still a little surreal. Like, it doesn't quite feel real yet. I'll tell you. So last week we had a meeting, and I turned over a lot of the passwords for a lot of the stuff that we used, because I kind of oversaw a lot of the social stuff. Giving you all the passwords. I mean, you had most of them anyway, but officially turning over the passwords and giving control of the sites, that was a little tough. And now it was definitely a very strange feeling, because now because I mean I've known about this for at least a year. You've known for at least 6 months at this point, but now that it's actually happening, it's hitting different.
Could imagine. I know that, for a lot of us, a lot of the leaders and a lot of the youth that's been part, even youth of today or youth that has been part of the Bridge for a very long time, they're probably very shocked at, the news that we just announced today. But one thing that is for certain is that, Billy, you literally seen the entire Bridge from its birth to where it is right now. And literally throughout all the years you have led at the Bridge. So as we end the season finale talking about leadership, I don't think there's nobody better to talk about what it means to be a leader at the Bridge and to be a leader in the community than the one and only William Hartz. Because, you know, he is the definition of what a leader is, what a leader should be. And we appreciate that. And we want to celebrate that today and pretty much pick your brain for the kids that are watching this right now. And they saying, you know, I want to be a bridge leader. I want to be able to, to serve others and to lead at the bridge. Let's pick your brain, Billy. Let's see, what is Billy's definition of what a true leader is all about. So before we go there, right, my first question to you is, Bill, how does it feel to lead the bridge for 20 years total?
I mean, um, it's been an honor to be a part of it. I mean, because it's something that when we started, it was very, very small. We had, I can't remember the exact numbers. We had 4 leaders and I think like 8 kids. And to see how it's grown over the years and the changes that's happened, and see people come and go, it's a kind of it's again, I guess the same word as a surreal experience. It's a humbling experience. Seeing kids who were there when we first started, and they've grown up and they have families of their own, and they have their own kids, and they're like in their mid-30s at this point. It's weird. It's weird to be a part of it, but it's a really rewarding experience at the same time.
I know for like myself, like just seeing you, like when I first started Bridge, like you were there, and you saw everything that's been happening for the last 20 years. Leslie, you have a question?
Yeah. So the bridge has seen like a lot of leaders, but at least for the time that I've been there for like 10 years. Billy's mostly behind the scenes, like doing a lot of stuff that like we really don't realize. So how does it look like to lead behind the scenes?
I mean, I think that's where some of the best leading can be. A leader doesn't have to be in front of. If your idea of leading is that you have to be in front of people telling them to do, then you're not a leader. You're.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said it last time. You're more like a manager, or like I want to use the word dictator, but I mean, so a leader. There's a quote I'm trying to find, but there's a leader. Let me see, hold on a second. There's a
Gotta
quote.
ask the Google.
There's a quote.
In the Google.
Here it is from Lao Tzu. I guess he's a Chinese or an Asian leader or philosopher. It says a leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done and his aim is fulfilled, they will say we did it ourselves. And I mean, I think that's like true leadership, that you empower people so that they can do beyond what you can do, or and so that when something great happened, you can kind of like pull to the back and give all the credit to whoever else is doing the work. Like, you don't have to be in the front. Like, the goal of a leader is not to accept praise. It's not to take all the glory for themselves. Like a real leader wants to take any of the credit and push it on to the people that they are leading, because that will help to build them up, and that will help them to become better leaders in the future. So if when people look back at the bridge, they don't even realize that I was there, but they see all the work that was done by the other people, then that to me says that I did a good job.
Oh, I love that answer.
Great answer, Christina. Now, we're looking at listening to what William says. Like, where in your life have you experienced a leader that was literally behind the scene doing what they were created to do, not being noticed a lot, but have made big giant impacts in your personal life only, in your personal life?
It's funny because I think of sports, like you think of the coach and like they never get the credit like the players.
Mm-hmm.
And so I played soccer my whole life. I don't know if I ever actually really talked about that, but I played soccer since I was like 10 all the way through high school. And I think for sure, like, especially my high school coach, I think about him a lot because he was such a phenomenal leader. Like, what a great teacher, always so patient, always so willing to like pour into each and every one of us as a team, and took so much pride. We were pretty good. I can't lie. And I just think about that even in general, right? Like the coaches never get the rewards that the famous players do, even though they're really the men behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones giving them all the pointers. They're the ones running all the plays. They're the ones telling them what to do. And I just think about that and I'm like, dang, or even teachers, right? Like teachers
Mm-hmm.
build future leaders. But it's like we're so quick to be like, oh my God, look at this person. What an amazing leader. And we're never like, but who set the
Who's the one who taught
foundation?
him or taught her
Right.
to be that
Right.
person?
Yeah, yeah. So I think in general, like some of the best leaders are the people that don't get the most recognition
Yeah.
and definitely work behind the scenes.
Now, Leslie, there's a lot of kids that, you know, their desire is to be a leader at the bridge, you know, and our desire is to make them leaders at the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to tell them when it comes to leading in the behind the scenes and not trying to receive recognition, but just doing your job and just leading others from the back? What do you want to say to them, and how and why is it important for them to lead in a humble way?
I think we started off talking about it last week. Like whatever responsibility you've been given at your specific bridge or wherever it is that you're doing ministry, do that well. Like do whatever you're doing, whether you're sweeping the floors, putting chairs out, whatever, handing out flyers, you do that with excellence. Like the word says, we do things like we do them for the Lord, and we truly do that. But as you do that well, you're gonna see your responsibility and your influence grow. But not only that, like because you're in that position of leadership where you have responsibility, you might be called a volunteer, you might be just called a like a helper or whatever. You're not a leader like with that title, but people are looking at you. Like be an example by how you live your life, be an example by how you treat like your other students that go to bridge, because they're looking at you, and that's where your influence really goes. It doesn't matter if you're not teaching at Bridge United or at Bridge on Fridays. Like those are things that come later, where you really make your influence is by how you lead yourself, like how you influence like your friends too. Hmm.
Awesome. Christina,
I
you
think a
have a
lot of
question for
kids,
Bill? Or
I
you have a
do, I
comment?
do. I have a comment and I have a question. I
Go
have
ahead.
one ready to go. But I think too, like a lot of kids see, like we live in a generation nowadays, especially with all of our kids and all of our youth, where it's like instant gratification, right? We have like all these videos, we have all this social media, and we love to just see things and get things done right away. And
Right.
I think that is very conflicting with their idea of being a leader, because I've seen bridge kids who instantly want to be like in our positions because they just think it looks cool. And
Hmm.
I don't think they realize the amount of work that we do, right? Like bridge is free. We don't get paid for this.
Right.
We sacrifice our time every Friday night. And granted, like they're like, well, I'm at bridge too. Yeah, but you're hanging out with your friends
Hmm.
and we're hanging out with you.
Right. We
And
could
we
be
love
anywhere else.
and I think it's just important to note, like, you can be one of us, but you have to put in the work.
Right.
You have to, we go to Christ Fellowship, we mimic our lives so that we reflect, on the Lord. We're not just out here like, la, da, da, and then, hey, but I'm a bridge leader. And I think it's really important for kids to realize you don't get that instant gratification in a leadership position. You have to earn it and you have to really work hard towards it. And that happens behind the scenes. That's not for everyone to see to get here. So, but anyway, I do have a question for Billy Hearts because since I'm still kind of like, I guess, a baby leader, my question is, if you had one piece of advice or wisdom for like me or anyone else who was becoming a leader in the bridge with the all the experience that you have, what would it be? Like what is your biggest like takeaway or piece of advice that you could give someone?
Pace yourself. um, what's the phrase? It's a marathon, not a sprint. So
Hmm.
back when I first started, like I was a little going a little crazy, doing a little much. And we were building a ministry, so there was only a few of us. There was a lot of work to be done. At one point, I was working two two jobs, like a full time job and a part time job, and doing full time school and bridge, which took up like hours and hours and hours and hours a week. And I almost burned myself out. Actually, I kind of did. I got sick for like a week or something like that straight, and I was doing too much, trying to be too much for too many people at the same time. Um, so you got to pace yourself. You have to know that you can't do everything. You're not going to reach every single person as much as you want to, as much as that you hate that feeling. Like you're just not going to be able to reach every person. Not everyone's going to be able to click with you. Some people are not going to like you, and that's okay. And it's okay if you don't reach every single person. My cat's trying to reach me right now. She's making noise over there. I don't know if you can hear it. But you're not going to be able to reach every single person. But there will be some people that you can reach, and those are the ones you need to to really invest in. Like you try to be there for everybody. You try to minister to everybody, but there's only going to be a small handful of people that are really going to connect with you and really going to click with you, and that you're really going to be able to pour into. Like if you even read the Bible, Jesus had thousands of people following him all the time, and then he had a smaller groups and the smaller concentric kind of circles. He had his 12, but then it even talks about how he had his 3 that he really poured into. And so even though he had, like we think of the 12 disciples, which is true, I mean, he also had, a group of 70 that he sent out one time to do ministry together. But like the ones he really super poured into all the time were the 3 that were with him. And so pace yourself and don't try to do too much at once. Know what your limits are, and realize that it's okay if you can't be everything to everyone, because that's not humanly possible, and that's bad leadership to try to do that.
Are you yelling at me? I swear.
Everything I'm saying is something a mistake that I've made, and I had to learn the lesson about.
I think that was the biggest lesson I learned this year too. I overcommit, so I'm learning to say no.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you, Bill, is you've seen, not hundreds, but you've seen many, many leaders come and go from the early years to even the later years.
I didn't know what Billy was drinking out of. It looked like he was drinking out of a can of Goya black beans.
Oh, let's go, man.
When he goes like this, it was so fast.
It does look like that.
I'm so sorry. Can you just take another sip?
That's the Mets' 50th anniversary 1969 World Champions cup from Citi Field. Only $8.
You see, when he lifts it like that, it just looks like a can of black beans. I'm sorry. I'm Central American. I'm sorry, Jesus. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So, Bill, out of all the leaders that you've seen come and go, who's
my favorite?
Who is your favorite leader? What were the 3 things about them, or about that particular person that you feel like, see, that is what a leader is all about?
He's gonna be like, I was my favorite leader, and I'm good at this and this
So
and everything I do.
I don't know if I'm not going to pick who my favorite person was. That's not right. But
you can.
It's okay, Billy. It's okay. It's me. It's
Bill,
fine. Go ahead.
Billy, William.
There have been. There have been. There's been people. We've had lots of leaders, and every one of them has had like their own skills, their own like talents, their own strengths, and things like that. So, Vinny was on the 20th anniversary show. He called in. Vinny was. Hold on, they're saying it's hard to hear me, so I'm going to boost my volume a little bit higher. Vinny was great. Because he was just always there serving, doing whatever. Like no task was too small for him. He was drawn to and he connected with the kids that a lot of other people would kind of look over. Like he was just he had a heart for those kind of people. So he had those kinds of strengths. We've had leaders who are super like charismatic and who everyone's drawn to. Carlos, our founder, is one of those people. Like he just walks into a room and just people are just kind of drawn to him. He's that kind of leader. Jesus, you're that same kind of leader. People are just kind of drawn to you, and so those kinds of people are needed. We had also one of our founders, Brian, is just kind of like a steady, calm voice of wisdom, kind of just speaking whatever needed to be said, and he was also still probably one of the best small group leaders we've ever had in the Bridge. He was fantastic with that kind of stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of leaders who have all different kinds of strengths and skills. My sister-in-law, Janelle, she built the worship ministry part of the Bridge up from nothing. It didn't exist before then. So she kind of took on that. People are not afraid to take on challenges to create things that need to be there. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick one person. I could probably go through a list and just kind of talk about most of the leaders that were there and what their strengths were.
You know, you're truly the GOAT of Christians.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, you know, like as Billy mentioned, guys, you know, there's no true pure definition of what a great leader is. It's just a bunch of different characteristics amplified to become that great leader, right? And you know, what do you guys say about that? You see that? You see that as true? There's different types of leaders.
Oh, 100%. Right? Yep. Something in common with like what you're saying, it really spoke to me more, like, because you said Janelle. But like all those leaders, like they have specific talents, and once you know like what your talent is, or like where you see your fruit growing the most, I feel like those leaders got better and better at those things, like on their own. Like they were self-motivated to like they God showed them what they were good at, like where he wanted to use them, and they just did everything they had to do to like get better at that, to, you know, be able to be more influential, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to like our other teaching that we did on our gifts.
Yeah.
It's like he highlights the gifts that we have and then takes us to a whole nother level. You know, like once you're aware of that, then God can, like, you know, use that to his advantage. I mean, he gave us a gift, so my man knows what's up.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? It's about, you know, finding out what are you good at? How are you able to use that gift to lead others and make other people better? And Billy, you've been seeing that for the last 20 years. Yeah. So Billy, this is your last year. You're officially retiring. I know you're not the type of person that likes to answer the next question I'm going to ask you, because just knowing your heart and how humble you are. But if there's one thing that you will love the world to remember Billy as at the Bridge, what do you want us to remember you as?
Oh, that's tough, because you're right. I don't like answering those kinds of questions, because again, my opinion is that a leader is best when, you know, they're invisible and the other people are getting all the glory. I mean, if I'm just remembered as someone who helped to build the bridge up from the early days when it was nothing, that I did a good job in helping to get it established, that's enough for me.
Aww.
That's my boy. And if there's anybody in the show that would like to say anything to Billy or want to comment something that I'd like us to read out to Billy, you know, make sure you write it in the comment. But you know, I know, you know, me personally, me and you, Billy, we talk a lot. And you know, I always tell you how important you are in everything that we do, from, you know, the beginning to the end. You know, you've been a gigantic piece, a cornerstone to our ministry, to what we do for the kids and stuff. And the reality is we would never ever find another Billy. So my goal is to try to find a bunch of small Billies and try to create one Billy.
I just saw a bunch of gnomes.
The reality is it's not going to be enough. But you know, we love you, man. We appreciate you, and we thank you for everything that you do. Right?
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of things have come with frustration, because you do think you're very talented, and there's a lot of stuff that you had on your plate. So even if it didn't seem like we were grateful for you, we were very grateful for you, and we wish we learned a lot more from you. But you're definitely going to be missed. You're not going to be far, but we love you very much, and everything that you did for us, for the kids.
I'm still going to be hitting him up. Hey,
no, I know, like, he's not dying or whatever, but still, like, he's not going to be like in Bridge United Sanctuary, you look back, he's at the soundboard, you know, like teaching someone else how to, you know, work the soundboard and how to do lighting and all this stuff like that. So just know what you did was not in vain, because youth ministry in general can feel like it was in vain sometimes. But yeah, walk away proud. Not walk away, but you know, like
it mostly feels like that, because
right.
youth ministry is one of those things where you don't get the
reward.
You don't reap the reward till sometimes decades later. Like
right.
like when your kids who you know when they were like 12 or 13, and you see them again when they're like 37. Kind of thing.
But it's true. I
so
think
specific.
we've
When
all
they're
gotten
37.
that not advice, but that I guess it was advice. I don't know. But youth ministry is like it's watering seeds, or you
Yeah.
know, God, or planting seeds or whatever. Like you don't always see them grow, or you see, you know, you could have a kid like this at Jesus's feet, and then they're acting up, and then but you never know. We've had kids from when you were like when the bridge was young, and they come back as adults. So you never know like
Yeah.
what you say and what you do affects.
Yeah.
Someone, yeah.
Sometimes you get lucky and you get that instant reward, like, oh, this kid gets it, kind of thing.
He got it. Yeah.
But that's not the always case. It's probably not even the majority.
That 1%. No.
Yeah.
God has a funny way of watering those seeds, though. I'll tell you that much. That's like even how I became a bridge leader. I met Raul at a warehouse party,
There you
and
go.
because he had the bridge shirt on,
The party that was,
was-
here's on this side, you get to buy stacks of paper, and we have pallets of wood that you could buy.
yeah, I was
like,
literally like,
Sure.
"Where'd you get that shirt? Where'd you get that shirt?" He's like, "Oh, my church does this for youth ministry." I was like, "Oh yeah, how do I get a shirt?" And next thing you know, here I am. So it's like God has such a funny way of working things out. Like we could be planting a million seeds and not know it until like years later, a kid has some kind of like moment or aha, and God's like,
Oh.
So William,
That's profound.
there's a youth that is watching this show right now, and and they love the bridge, and they want to be a part of the bridge. They want to be a leader at the bridge, and they want to be able to dedicate their lives to serving God and to helping others learn about Him and to be part of the bridge and do that. What advice would you like to give them?
You don't have to be perfect in order to be a leader, and you don't have to have a whole lot of special skills or talents. I just did yesterday. The church does a 7 a.m. morning conference call thing, like a devotional. They pray and stuff like that, and they asked me to do the teaching yesterday. So I talked about Moses at the burning bush. And at that point in time, Moses was kind of living in exile. He found a family. He was living with them, and he married one of the daughters, and he was working for the father as a shepherd. And so he was out doing his shepherd thing. He was taking care of the sheep, and he came across a bush that was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. Like the leaves were on fire, but they weren't burning up. And so he went to investigate it, and God told him, "I'm going to deliver my people out of slavery in Egypt, and I want you to be the one to do it." And there's a lot of dialogue going back and forth. He was fighting with God about it, but in the end, when he was trying to ask God, like, how am I going to do this, God looked at Moses and said, "Well, what's in your hand?" And Moses said, "Well, it's my staff, his shepherd staff," which was not an uncommon thing because he was a shepherd. And so that was just kind of like the tool of his trade. That was just like what he had as his normal thing. He had it all the time. Is how he took care of the sheep, how he guided the sheep and stuff like that. God pretty much told him that, well, you're going to use that staff, and that staff is going to become perform miracles, and it's going to deliver the people out of Egypt. And if I can remember correctly, it was Exodus chapter 4, verse 2 or something like that. It's early on where Moses said, "Well, it's my shepherd staff," and that's the last time in the book of Exodus that's referred to as a shepherd staff. When you get down to verse 20, after Moses has agreed to go do this thing that God has called him to do, it says that he packed up his stuff, he got his wife and his kid, and in his hand was the staff of God. And so the point of it is that Moses had just his normal everyday thing that he could do. It was the tool of his particular job. And God took that thing that was very common, very ordinary in his hand, and he took it and changed it from being the shepherd's staff into becoming the staff of God. And with that staff, he performed miracles. That's the staff he held out over the Red Sea and parted it. And so an ordinary shepherd staff was transformed into the staff of God, which performed miracles and delivered 4 million people out of slavery, all because Moses agreed to follow where God was telling him to go and do what he told him to do. So if you want to be a leader, you don't have to have a whole lot of skill. You don't have to have a lot talent. You don't need to be the best at anything. It's just God's asking, well, what do you have in your hand? And then he can take whatever that thing is that you can do, whether it's just, I can stack the chairs up. That's kind of like the example we always give. I can stack the chairs up. Or maybe you're good with a computer and a camera. Or maybe you're good at speaking to people, or whatever it is. God can take that ordinary thing and he can kind of infuse his power into it, and it can become a tool that can deliver people and save people and do a lot of really incredible things. So you don't need to be really good at anything. You don't need to have a whole lot of specific skills. You don't even have to be a good leader when you start out. Just when God says, I have a job I need you to help with, you do it. Yep. And then whatever you have in your hand, he's going to use to, change the world.
Amen.
Wow.
And that's pretty much it, guys.
Can't top that.
Can't top that, Billy. Well, guys, once again, this is our last show, our season finale. Today we celebrate William, Billy Hartz, and all that he's done for us, and part of the Bridge. And we continue to talk about leadership. We encourage you guys to stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. Make sure that you're following us on YouTube. Billy, what are the things they need to make sure they do in order to stay connected?
You mentioned most of them. Follow us on all the things. So Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. What else do we have? TikTok. It's always Bridge Youth. So just follow us on there. We'll follow you back. You can visit our website, bridgeyouth.com, for all the latest information. Just make sure you keep up with what we're doing, because, like as Jesus said, the Bridge is not stopping over the summer. There's still going to be different shows, but there'll be shows over the summer. We'll be back in September for the
live Bridge show.
For the live Bridge show. And if all
it's
goes,
going to be totally different too.
Yep. And if all goes according to how things are looking, they're going to go. We'll be back in the Bridge physically in September, if all goes well.
Amen.
So make sure you keep up with what's with us on the internets, so you know.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we love you guys. We thank you guys for tuning in. Until the next time, peace.
Adios.